Hi people, David here from Science Made Simple. We love working with researchers from all over the world to help them engage with people in many different ways. Today's video is going to be some tips and tricks around how to use your technical language to draw even more people into what you do, even if maybe they don't know much about how you do it. So why do we need technical language? Why do we use technical language? When you boil it down, I think particularly for science and research, it comes down to accuracy. And you want to accurately portray your information to your colleagues. But just sometimes, it can act as a barrier between research and people understanding what you're talking about, what you're trying to tell them. We're not saying don't use technical language. It is an incredible tool. People are fascinated by words and phrases they've never seen before, and it causes anybody to stop and think, well, what does that mean? Which is really, really useful. But what we've got to do is continue one step further and just translate that technical language so that our audiences can get the fun and excitement out of those words, but also get some of the meaning as well. So I'm going to start off by using a certain piece of technical language and then carry on working with that and try and illustrate how there are other ways how we can actually use physical activity sometimes to help people to get a grasp of what that technical language might be. The technical language that we're actually going to use, you ready for it people? It's a certain word, and that word is proprioception. Proprioception. And to examine that piece of language, the only piece of equipment we're going to use is our body. So join with me in this activity and we'll see where we go from there, what lessons we can draw from it. So what I want you to do first of all is put your left index finger out in front of you, as comfortably in front of you as you can. That's great, that's great. Give you a second to do that. And then you take your right index finger and put it out behind you, as far as you can comfortably go. You know, you're trying to get something so they're more or less in a straight line as much as you can. And then on the count of 1, 2, 3, with both eyes open, you're bringing the right index finger over to touch the tip of the left index finger. 1, 2, 3. Number 1. And number 2. And number 3. And I bet lots of you got quite a high score there. There'll be loads of us who managed 3 out of 3. Too easy. Let's make this a little more challenging. Same thing again, but this time I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. So exactly the same activity, but this time close your eyes. So get ready, we're here. It's excellent. And close your eyes. And 1, 2, 3. First attempt. And a miss for David. And second attempt. And just a hit. Whoa. And third attempt. Oh, yes. And you can open your eyes. And again, I suspect there will have been some misses there, but most of us, maybe we managed to hit once or twice. What's going on there? Our bodies, our brains, have this inbuilt spatial awareness around us. So we can tell where one part of our body is in relation to the other part of other body part, or roughly so, even if you take sight away. So did you see how we manage that technical language there? You got the word. First of all, the word without too much explanation, actually, and maybe hopefully that's giving people a chance to experience that as a fresh and new thing. But then we defined, or tried to define, what that word was in language that people would understand, could understand. And in using those two techniques, we're sort of trying to get the best of both worlds with technical language. Also, we used some... I've forgotten the word. Also, we used some equipment. In this case, it was our own body, and using things like that in your presentations can sometimes be a really good idea. Let's have a think at another example. What you're going to see on the screen shortly is an excerpt from a scientific paper. It's a piece of technical language. All I want you to do is have a read of that and just write down any words or phrases that you might think are technical language. Now, imagine that you're looking at this from the point of view of an 11 to 14-year-old child who can read and write. Just have a look at that. Read it. Make what you can of it. Any pieces of technical language that you're wondering about, scribble those down. When you're a new journalist, you've just joined the paper and you're talking to your editor on how to write adult articles, then what editors would usually say is, we want you to write your article so that an 11-year-old child who could read and write could understand that article. In a way, what we'd like you to do next is come up with your own technical example. Just spend a little time thinking about a piece of your technical language that you'd like audiences, that you'd like that 11 to 14-year-old child to know more about. So what you're looking for is, it might be a word or a phrase from a paper you're working on. It might be the title of the paper you're working on at the moment, or you've worked on or known from the past. You're taking that language and translating it so that that 11-year-old to 14-year-old child would get something out of it. They might not need to realise the whole meaning of it, but they would understand where most of it was going. Maybe the next step after that would be to try and improve it a little bit by giving more people access to it. Maybe you could show your friends and family, people you meet down at the gym, in your local pub. Ask them, do they have any suggestions to making it even more accessible? Don't worry if you're not so pleased with it at the moment. This is the start of a process, and we're quite near to the end of this session now. And what I'd like to do is give you your nice homework. Take your piece of technical language translation and maybe work it up into an image, or possibly even a little video. Maybe you got some insights in how you could do that when we were thinking about proprioception, and you could publish your translation to the research showcase, and it would be used in European Researchers' Night events.